We're going to call the meeting to order. I'd like us to pause to seek guidance so that everyone... And now we'll have the reading of the mission statement. To provide, promote, or facilitate municipal services that meet the community needs by preserving, supporting, and enhancing quality of life for all. The next we are going to have is approval of the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions? Hearing none.
I would like to add any camera items, legal.
Yes. Legal issue with camera. I'll put it in there.
Isn't that?
Thank you.
Fine,
Not me, too, but I do.
This is crazy.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, sorry. Who passed, motioned that
Motion to approve the agenda.
as amended?
I'll move.
David moved it.
Second.
George second. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. That's sad when I forget. The next thing is our presentations. First one is from Gus Green and Amy Hilliard, sorry. My Waste smartphone app. Could I have someone move for her to come,
So
for them to come forward? Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. And I will say, this is the one and only app I have on my phone.
I have the flashlight.
For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Gus Green, and I'm General Manager of WasteCheck. I'm joined this evening by Amy Hilliard, who is the Assistant Manager of WasteCheck and also serves as our Waste Reduction Coordinator. We're here tonight, the main reason is to demonstrate our new smartphone app, as Linda kindly referenced. But since we're here, we thought we'd take the opportunity and just bend your ear for a few minutes, particularly for the benefit of new councillors, to sort of remind everyone who WasteCheck is and what we do. So the name of the presentation is called Region 7 Small but Mighty, and hopefully by the time we're finished you'll understand why we use that term to describe ourselves. Anytime you want to talk about where you are and where you're going, it's a good idea to look back for a second and see where you've been. So briefly on the history of solid waste in Nova Scotia. Back in the 70s we had hundreds of disposal sites across the province. As late as 1996 there were still 20 open burning sites. In 1989, Nova Scotians produced on average 740 kilograms per person. 740 kilograms of waste per person per year. That's a pretty big number, and you'll see why later. It worked with that much. In 1995, the province of Nova Scotia introduced a solid waste management strategy that was very unique and had four main goals. The first was reducing waste by 50% by the year 2000. They wanted to increase disposal standards, in other words, get rid of those burning dumps and open dumps. They wanted to create some regional cooperation, and they also wanted to generate some economic opportunities. So what did all that mean to the municipalities? Well, it meant you need facilities and infrastructure, you needed education, and ultimately you would need enforcement. Facility locations we are spread across our region. There's some signs for some of your facilities. It's worth looking at this list. This was part of that 1995 strategy, and it did something unique in that it banned materials from landfill. So in other words, in the province of Nova Scotia, it's actually against the law to send these things to landfill. But I put it up more to remind you how long it's been. We're going on 13 years now that a lot of things, like organics, for example, have been banned from landfill. You'd think by now we'd have it pretty well perfect. Sadly, we're not there just yet. So the current goal that's been mandated by the province of Nova Scotia is 300 kilograms per person per year. Remember that 740 kilogram per person per year I talked about from 89. Right now, the provincial average is 394 kilograms per person per year, and the target is 300. Disposal in Nova Scotia. It's worth pointing out that when we talk about disposal in Nova Scotia, we talk about everything that goes in the ground. That means residential waste, business or commercial waste, and construction demolition waste. Some areas, some jurisdictions, you'll hear them talk about their disposal waste, disposal rate, but they're only talking about residential. In Nova Scotia, we include everything. So the province, in that 95 strategy, divided the province up into 7 waste management regions. We're number 7 down there in the corner, the smallest of the 7.
But the mightiest.
But the mightiest. So, Region 7 Waste Check, the actual name according to the legislation is the Western Region Solid Waste Resource Management Authority. So it's not really surprising you guys opted to go with something a little shorter like Waste Check. We represent the counties of Digby and Yarmouth and the 6 municipal units contained within, and our population is approximately 44,000. We have a board that I report to. It's made up of two representatives from each of the 6 municipal units. And we take our orders from them. Just a little bit on the budget information. Waste Check, typically our annual budget is about $600,000 a year. Most years we get about $100,000 of that from the 6 municipal partners. This year that's been reduced to $50,000. So for the municipality of Digby, you're just over $8,000 as your contribution towards our programs for the year. Residential curbside collection, no matter which of our 6 municipalities you live in, your setup should look something like this. You'll have a green cart for your organic waste, clear bags for your garbage, and 2-stream recycling. That's our waste separation guide, I'm sure you're all familiar with. And there's one in your kit tonight. We do a lot of education, we do event greeting, we do public displays, festivals and exhibitions, we do presentations, community groups, schools, businesses. We have our mascot, Mr. Greenbin, who participates in local parades there. We do business visits, we do curbside education, and we do some community outreach as well. The Resource Recovery Fund Board, which is the organization that administers the deposit refund system on soft drinks, or on beverages, sorry, they have done some audits over the last couple of years looking at what are the major things that still go to landfill in the province of Nova Scotia. Surprisingly, 26% of the stuff that's going to landfill is organic material, stuff that shouldn't be going to landfill, stuff that's been banned from landfill for 13, 16 years or something, and still makes up 26% of the waste. So we still, despite the fact we do a really good job, there's still some room for improvement. You're all familiar with the Clear Bag program. These are copies of stickers that we provide to the haulers when waste isn't sorted properly. We ask them to sticker them, then fill out one of these sheets that tells us where they've rejected the waste, and then Waste Check staff try and go visit that residence or business to talk to them about the separation.
May I ask a question?
Absolutely.
On your rejection stickers, are there haulers putting on so that the person knows what the problem is?
It is certainly our intent that the haulers identify for the benefit of the resident what they've done wrong. In reality, that doesn't always work, but our contact information is on there, and if they contact us, usually working with that person, we can figure out what the problem was. Nothing else works. We'll actually go look at the bags ourselves and see what was wrong. But the intent is to make it easy for the householder. Again, it doesn't always happen, but that's what we're trying to do.
Do you, after you put a reject sticker on, you said you make a visit to those first time, or do you kind of wait second or third time?
No, generally speaking, within the limitations of staff, because we do have a limited number of staff. If the information comes to us on a rejection sheet, and the hauler has rejected the waste and informed us, we will go first time, as soon as we find out. It doesn't always happen, again, just because of the limitations. We're a vast region with small staff, but we have a pretty good success rate at following up.
We also database that information, so we can query, like, for certain civic address, so if they've come in, like, we get kind of, it highlights, you know, that it's a duplicate, or it's been on there 3 times, or something like that, and then eventually the enforcement staff go in if education can't get complaints.
One thing we do occasionally struggle with is getting the haulers to provide a clear, correct address, we'll say. Sometimes that's the issue for us, and it seems to be more of an issue in this municipality. They send us addresses that I'm sure it made sense to them, but really legally doesn't exist anywhere. So we've got to try and figure out from where they're talking about. But again, if they get the information to us, we really try and go and meet with that person. We also do inspections at the transfer stations, and again, just looking to see who's participating, who's not. It also helps us target our education. If we do inspections at the transfer station and we see a load coming from a certain business, and we see that they're not following our programs, then we can go directly to that business and work with them. Ongoing initiatives, we have our Business of the Month program. It's been very successful. Again, education across all sectors. We're trying to increase our load inspections. We also do, of course, the green cart delivery and repair. We also have our Club 300, hopefully you're familiar with. 2013, again, our focus increased curbside education and those rejection follow-ups when the haulers send us that information, trying to get out there. We produced a calendar for the first time. We've translated our entire website, so now you have the choice of viewing the whole thing in either English or French. We've had some landlord workshops where we work with rental property owners to try and help them do with their tenants. And we're scheduling some hauler information sessions, which we do on a fairly regular basis, just to meet the haulers and talk about their issues as well. Garbage disposed by sector. We like to show this slide because of something it demonstrates. The blue is the IC&I, Industrial Commercial Institution waste, in other words, business sector waste. And the red is the residential waste. If you look in 2007, they're fairly close together in terms of volume. But in 2008, you see the residential drops off dramatically. In 2008 was when we introduced clear bags for garbage. And the effect on residential waste was immediate, and it's been long lasting. We saw big reductions, and those reductions have held. It didn't catch on as quickly in the IC&I sector, but you can see they're heading in the right direction. So we're going to get them there, but it didn't work as quickly in the business sectors as it did in residential. So WasteCheck had a vision, or our authority had a vision that they wanted to be leaders in waste management, but they wanted a plan to get there. So they went through a very complex strategic planning process. Often with strategic planning, there's a temptation for people to go huddle in a room and then come back to the document and say, Eureka, our strategic plan. We didn't want to do that because we knew in order to have success, we needed buy-in from the commercial sector. So we went out and talked to various sectors within the waste in the community, and actually made them part of the process, part of the strategic planning process. So we had identified various sectors, and we had a representative from each of those sectors sit on our committee to do the strategic planning, and then we actually held sector meetings within each of those sectors to try and get more input. So we got a tremendous amount of input, and through that we created a very, we think, good strategic plan. We still stay in touch with that committee, and our strategic plan is a working document. One of the other things that happens with strategic plans is people make them, put them on a shelf, and then forget about them. We don't do that. It comes out regularly at staff meetings, and actually as part of the WasteCheck budgeting process, we are required each year to bring forward with our budget a work plan for the coming year, the things in our strategic plan that we're going to focus on and work on, and what goals we're going to be trying to achieve. So it keeps it an actual living, breathing document. Anyway, that was a 3-year vision from 2010 to 2013. Into 2013, so this fall we're actually going to repeat the process and forge another 3-year plan. So we'll have a template for how we go forward for the next 3 years. Club 300, I alluded to earlier, recognizes groups and organizations and individuals that go above and beyond the call of duty, so to speak, to help us reach that 300 kilogram target. Here's some of the inductees of the Club 300.
I just wanted to go back for a minute.
Sure.
I just wanted to highlight that you saw Barton Consolidated, which is in our municipality. Larry Kelly is in our municipality. I believe Karen Timon is in our municipality. All of those people, Helen Ivins and her great class, it's all of the municipality. And I think that shows something for our area, that when you get Club 300 inductees and you're looking at our area, I mean, I just wanted to make that comment.
You have champions right here in your own municipality. We also do some other community outreach. You're probably all familiar with our community litter cleanup incentive, where we pay nonprofit groups to clean up litter. We do as much as we can through social media and Facebook. We now have an additional compliance inspector that's really helping us with those curbside follow-ups when the haulers provide the information. You may have seen our success stories videos. They're available on our website. If you haven't, if you watch them, you'll see local people, that you will recognize from within your communities, who are actually talking about the good things that happened when they embraced proper solid waste management. We also do our hauler appreciation days, where we go to one of the facilities and we barbecue some lunch for the haulers when they're coming in, give them a hat or two or something. Just a little thank you for the difficult job that they do. We've got some special events, Earth Day in April, Compost Awareness Week in May, Environment Week in June, and we've got Waste Reduction Week coming in October. We do have an enforcement program. As I mentioned, we've had a full-time bylaw officer since 2010 to enforce our municipal bylaws. Region 7 disposal number, the national number is 767. Provincial number is 394. That provincial target that we're supposed to reach is 300. And I'm proud to say that we are at 292 kilograms per person here in Region 7.
Do we have a target that we've set ourselves separate from the provincial, considering we've already beaten it?
That's one of the things that is going to be brought up when the committee gets back, strategic planning committee gets back together. When the initial plan was done, we had an ambitious goal. We wanted to get that provincial target by 2013, 2 years ahead of everybody else. And we did it. We got there. We've had the lowest disposal rate in the province for the last 4 years. As to where we go from here, what our target is, that's something that we're going to take back to that committee and work on in the fall, so that when we roll out our next 3-year plan, we'll know, where we're going, where we want to go. But we don't have to answer that question yet.
Yeah, just wondering.
That is certainly one of the key things that strategic planning process is going to have to address. So, my waste, the reason we're really here. Sorry, I got a question.
Well, I have a question pertaining to your presentation up to date. Going to the waste separation guide, under garbage, it still lists clothing and shoes. And we have a lot of people in Region 7 that actually will take that. And to me, it takes that, it diverts it out of the landfill if we can recycle it by giving it to the Salvation Army or giving it to the Red Cross or Bethany Bin.
Absolutely.
And I guess my point I'm trying to raise is that I know you're still going to have a space here for that, for clothing and shoes, that if you get worn out or soiled clothing that is no good, but I think I'd like to see us somehow try to, through our advertising and speaking to people, try to promote recycling clothing and shoes the best, if possible. There's all kinds of these here little white Red Cross bins all over the place. There's a Bethany bin in Digby. Yarmouth has got the Salvation Army. They've got a bin out in front of their property, same as down here. So I'd like to see us try to encourage people to try to recycle that more rather than just throwing it away.
That's an excellent point, Jim. And we're certainly becoming more aware of more opportunities to produce some of this material. And actually, if you're updating, that list actually has been reprinted a number of years. We had it updated on our website? Yeah, that information's already been updated on our
It is there,
website.
Okay, so I'll just check this afternoon and make sure.
I'll have to look, I don't know if you need to refresh it, because I don't think so. I did go on there. It just says please donate in brackets underneath for right now. But we only have 800 sort guides left in stock, so we're gonna have to reprint this year.
So that will be changing. And also, if you call the hotline to ask, we certainly encourage reuse opportunities, and disposal is the last resort in all possibility.
Well, I guess one thing is, and we're all guilty of it, but we have a public drop-off, but we should have some bins there to take recycled clothes, and we don't have that there, but I think it's something we have to work towards putting in place.
And I think really that we're at a point now where sort of all the low-hanging fruit is gone in terms of reducing our disposal rate. So any opportunity that presents itself, and clearly clothing and shoes is going to be one of those opportunities.
And there was a provincial textile summit that was held there a month and a half ago, and there was a lot of stuff learned there between all the organizations that they're almost like competing for the clothing. So they're working on a list right now provincially of where it can go, so we'll have that on our website. And under what's new, there should be a t-shirt that says about donating clothing. So we do have some.
I would just like to make sure, though, that when we do promote it, that we treat everybody the same and everybody has the same opportunities. Like, we're not going to promote one stream over another. So, but like, because you've got the Diabetes Association's got the red bins, and the Red Cross have got the white bins, and then, like I said, then you have other organizations that are taking clothes as well.
Yeah, and we'll be promoting the idea of reusing and burning material. We won't be, endorsing any one particular charity or anything like that. Okay, so my waste. They tell us that an increasing number of people have smartphones now. It's growing on a daily basis. And if you have an iPhone or an Android phone, it's all about the applications you can download on. Even the warden has as an app. And we're not the first jurisdiction in Canada, but we are the first jurisdiction in Nova Scotia to bring forward a waste solvent app. And the waste is called My Waste. The app's called My Waste. So what's in the app? It's all the waste separation and collection information, calendars, maps, separation programs for all the municipalities in our region, drop-off locations, Enviro depots, HHW, also alerts. When there's a change in collection schedule, we can send an alert to all the subscribers. If there's a snowstorm in Digby and the waste is not being picked up, we can send a notification to all the app users that that's what's happened. So it's a good way to reach people. Also, people can set reminders on it, so if your collection is Tuesday morning, Monday night, your phone reminds you that you got to put the waste out. Also, report a problem, which is kind of nice as well. If you go out and there's a wheel broken on your green cart, there's a feature on the app that you can report that right through the app. You can take a picture and send along with it if you want. If you're out for a walk in the woods and you're going across and leave a dump site, same thing. You can take a picture. You can even send us the GPS coordinates and report a problem that way. There's also an advanced search, what goes where. If you're standing in the kitchen, you don't know where to put a yogurt cup. Grab your app and type in yogurt cup and it'll tell you what to do with it. Yeah, so I'm top ahead there, it's the ability to set the reminders, and it's good that the information travels with you because most people who have a smartphone are very rarely without their smartphone. They may not have our waste separation guide with them, but they probably have their smartphone. Again, report a problem. Send complaints. Yeah. You can send a complaint anonymously if you want, or you can provide your contact information. We'll follow up with you on what we've learned. And all the reports get databased, so you have the information. So developers of My Waste currently updating the app for use on all devices. It's available, as I mentioned, for Apple and Android, and they're currently working on having it available for BlackBerry. It's not yet, but hopefully it will be soon. Some of the new features we'll see this year: enhanced notifications, syncing the collection calendar with all of your devices, not just your smartphone, and increased functionality on the layout of the app. Cost, for those of you who are interested, there's a one-time setup fee of about $2,500, and then there's an annual licensing fee of $3,200, which is really quite a fair price, we feel. They do their pricing based on the size of your population, so we're providing this service by doing it on a regional basis at a cost far less than if the 6 units had decided to do it themselves. So again, just another argument for regional cooperation. I'm not talking yet. Again, if you guys had tried to do it on your own or decided to do it on your own, your setup fee would have been about $1,800, and then your annual fee would be $1,100. The $3,200 we provided to all 6 municipalities, so about half cost actually. Now, you're going to go.
I'm just going to quickly show the app itself and some of the things I was talking about there. So when you first download it, it's going to ask you, it's kind of blurry to see, but it's going to ask you like what country you live in, like Canada, and then you narrow it down to Nova Scotia. And then when you hit Nova Scotia, it will only show our areas. And then it'll ask you for single-family home or multi-family, because if you're in an apartment, some places are where you pick it up. So for municipality Digby, I had to download it it would take time to download it the first time, but to save time, I already had downloaded it. So, say you lived in Little River, then you'd hit that, and it says you have selected Monday as your zone, and you just hit continue. Oh, sorry, it says no collection because it's on July 3rd. And our collection's Monday. So then you can see that on Monday there's a green dot for organics, and then recycling and garbage on that week, and then it alternates. You can also hit the legend, and it will show you what the colors mean, and then underneath it says set reminder. So if you wanted to set a reminder for your garbage, you can do it for 1 week in advance up to 1 hour. And then there's just a few, I'll just highlight, like we could spend forever on it, but under programs, it just talks about like recycling collection, so it'll give you some, like I'll go into recycling, so it'll show you, this is all from the bylaw, the paper has to be in 1 bag, clean and dry separate from your plastics, what your setup time is, it's bi-weekly, and then accepting materials. So then say, if you're wondering what household hazardous waste, it'll tell you when you first click on it, what materials it is and what you shouldn't do with them. And then if you were wondering where to take it, you could hit HHW Depot and it would show you which one's closest to where you are. So obviously the Digby one would be for this case, so it's 1.3 kilometers from where we are. And then if you needed more information about, it'll bring up the phone number to call, the times of it, and then of course the accepted materials are there as well. And then additional resources is more on things the developer put on there, but we've read them all and they're fine, just on reasons to recycle and that sort of thing. What goes where is the sort one, so Gus had mentioned yogurt. Oh. So then if you, it'll bring up different things that could have meant by yogurt. So if you were looking for the yogurt cup, it would tell you that it's in recyclable bag 2, which is your plastic containers, and that it should be cleaned and that information. So you can type in, there's 3,000 items right now in that database. The reporter problem is what we, that's just a thing telling you that this is not 911 emergency. For reporting a problem, that you should do something else other than going on this. But when Gus was talking about add a photo up in the corner, so right from your phone, and then you can put in a description, you can type a problem over here, a drop-down menu comes at the bottom. The first few are like if you had a suggestion about the app or something that wasn't working on it, that would go right to our developer. But the other ones would be illegal dumping, burning garbage, a broken green cart, and you can click on that. You can put your location up there with your GPS on your phone, and that would come in, and then you can also click, yes, you may contact me if you wanted us to contact you. And it brings up your email and your name and your phone number. And then that would come right to us. And then of course, our contact information is there, as well as your hauler and for bulky item pickup. And that sort of thing. So Gus mentioned about, you know, we can send out the alerts and that sort of thing, and that's really quick rundown of the app. So right now we're busy trying to promote it, to let people know that it's there so we can get them downloaded. The first month we had 137 people download it, so we were fairly happy with that because we hadn't really been out at any summer events yet because that was May. So we're waiting for June's results. We should be getting them soon. They usually come like almost a month later. So anyway, we're booked in for the Digby County X and Digby's holidays and other ones around. So we're going
Digby
back.
County.
Exhibition.
The exhibition.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I was going,
I'm used to the Arpex, and I just call it the Digby County X, but yeah, in late August, so.
Oh, yeah, I know what it is. It just wasn't hitting me what it was. Now, will you be here for a War Rat rally?
We talk about work around, and we find that that's not, we've been there before, and it's not really what, people aren't looking for this information at a work rally. They're interested in other things, so we haven't found it was the best use of our time a couple of years ago when we went.
And
So
also,
we're not doing
most
that
of the people are from somewhere else anyway.
Yeah, like the Lobster Bash, did you come up for that?
No, we've just been doing one main event in each of the municipal units. So that one's a 4-day one that we're doing there, and we were out for the summer that we saw you at.
Oh, yes, okay, yeah.
Sorry, spring into summer.
Spring into-
Yeah, we were at that, and that was really popular, actually.
Oh,
We had
God, that was
50 people.
very good.
And we are giving away an iPad, so if you know people this summer at all these events, we have one to give away. It was actually given to us for signing up for this, so we decided that we would give it away, so if people download the app.
I think it should be the first one who downloads.
You're not getting it, no, sorry.
I think there's a conflict. So anyway, so if you know anyone, they can certainly, even if they don't have an app, there's a place they can go on the website and give us an information there, and they can be entered for the draw too. Because if they don't have an iPad, it's a good chance for them to be able to get one and enter the way. So anyway, we're excited about it, and we're hoping to spread the word and get people in it. We certainly have the rest of the province.
And
after us.
interestingly,
Yeah.
out of all the people we talked to, this app does so many neat things. The thing that people most seem to like is it reminds me when you put it out of the curb. That seems to be by far the most popular thing.
The day before and what it is.
Yeah.
I can see that. That's my hardest memory.
So anyway, I guess that's our presentation. Do you have any other questions?
Anyone have any further questions?
I see a handy.
Oh, Counselor?
Not with regard to that, but green carts, if they are broken, top comes off, wheels, whatever, somebody will come out and fix it?
Oh, yeah, we'll come and fix it. If we can't fix it, we should replace it.
Okay, so if it gets replaced, is there any charge to the homeowner for
There's
that?
never a charge to the homeowner.
What, if they have one already, there's no?
Where the-
If they didn't
where
have
the
one,
charge
there's
is-
no charge to the homeowners. The municipality is responsible for those costs.
So does that get passed on through taxes or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh. So there is a charge to the homeowner then?
Well, yes.
Okay, well, that's what I
But
wanted.
not
Not
direct.
but not
Not direct.
direct.
No direct charge that specific
Oh,
home.
okay.
Okay.
But on the tax bill, it will show up. If it's in-
Eventually, well, it's all
Doesn't
in
show
it.
specific.
No, it's
Okay.
not.
On average, the carts have about a 10, 12-year life expectancy, so it's not typically an ongoing cost.
However, right now, our cards are about 12 years old.
So we're seeing a little more repair work than in the past.
Is there any other questions? Gordon?
I'm really pleased to see the numbers for Region 7. I'm sure you folks are proud of those also. And being a part of it, I don't know if you've asked this in the past, but competition's not a bad thing. I'm sure you tote that number and it's one that, you know,
Oh,
carries
yeah.
and carries.
Well, actually, the RFP took some really nice ads, you probably saw them in the Courier. Sort of praising Waste Check for being the first area to reach that, to surpass that target.
The reason I ask is, or bring that up, is within Region 7, can you break out the municipal units and how well each one of those are individually doing? Because competition within-
do that, Gordon?
Competition.
Don't want to do that.
We're doing, we work as a region.
We're in this together.
We try to keep it regionally.
Okay, just wondering
It can be
because
done, but
we
it's.
pride on what we're doing here, and it's nice to know maybe it's confidential.
I think there's enough success there that all 6 of the units can brag provincially and nationally about how well they're doing.
Good. The other one that I had, and I always want to try and do things better, you know that contact that I've had with you folks. You mentioned that we're probably the worst culprit for civic addressing for our haulers, and I'd like to at least find out how we can make that better with you guys. I thought with Joanne's addition to making sure that the numbers are legible, it's the first I've heard of it, so.
Yeah, and it's, we're scheduling a haulers meeting now, so we'll need to bring it up with those guys again. We've talked to them in the past, but sometimes it's just a question of illegible writing. Sometimes how they know a road isn't necessarily the same as how it would appear on the map in terms of what the name of the road is. And sometimes it's just a question of civic numbers, and we haven't quite solved what the problem is there, but they'll give us a civic number that we cannot find for the life of us. We drive up and down that road all day long, and cannot find that civic number anywhere.
And sometimes it could be 6 out of 12 or something on a certain day.
I'll just give
Sometimes
her,
it's
I'll give her a
significant.
holler a heads up, and then it'll be on.
Oh,
discussion as a hauler.
he's aware.
Great.
Oh, yeah,
We maintain close contact. All right, well, thank
Any
you all
other?
very much for allowing us this time, and we really do appreciate it. Thank you.
We want to thank you for coming. We appreciate your time. You had to come up. And we'll see you in September.
I'll quickly grab a glass of water, sorry.
Yes. Okay.
And cigarette.
What?
No,
You disagree with,
no, I was just talking to you.
for him getting water, you mean? Oh, wouldn't do any good.
No, I was just talking.
Okay, the next is business arising from the, first, our minutes of June 24th. Is there any errors or omissions?
We lost 2 counselors. We can't.
Yeah,
We still have
lost
3.
two.
We still have a 4.
3 out of 5 here.
3 out of 5.
I'll move for acceptance of the minutes of June 24th.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Next, business arising from the minutes, old business with sustainable forestry practices.
That's the invitation to the meeting on October 5th, right?
Let me look.
Yep, October 5th, right here.
Okay. So what's it saying, David?
Well, he says no to coming in and appearing before the council,
yeah.
and then he suggests that there's going to be a conference on October 5th. I don't know where they said it was,
Actually-
Caledonia.
In the field, yeah.
It's, they asked us to participate in the Provincial Woodlot Owner of the Year event,
Mhm.
and I've asked for more details on the exact location.
until-
Woodlot.
The woodlot owners, yeah, it doesn't say specifically where,
No,
but
it
the
doesn't.
woodlot's in Caledonia, I guess.
So I've asked for that information, so I can forward it to council if anyone's interested in trying. Yeah, with Caledonia.
Yeah, that's where they have this.
So I want to get a specific address.
Yeah, we don't know where. It's nice to be asked to go, but go where? Okay. Was there any other business arising, Councilor Manzer, or old business?
No.
Counselor Tudor?
No.
Counselor Adams? No. Deputy Warden Feldmeyer?
No.
And none for me. The next is new business. The first is rural postal delivery, and David, you just said you wanted to the agenda. What would you like to discuss?
Well, I've been looking into that. I'm trying to avoid us getting super boxes, I believe they're called. There's another community box or super box, the very large ones. And I'm just hoping that people, if they have the chance to be able to move their box down the road, I've been looking into it for the last few days, I'll just tell you what I found out. There's no real plan in my area for any of these super boxes. There is a handful of places on 217 that may need to have a community box, say 6 boxes. My concern is that these super boxes would come in while there's empty boxes available within the existing infrastructure, i.e. the 4 post offices in my district. And I feel like it's not going to be a problem. I feel like between moving your mailbox, the extremely limited use of the community boxes, and the fact that they will make a box available at the post office if there is room available, I believe that will be good enough.
I'm glad for you,
So there. But
because we've all heard the same thing.
oh, I know, I'm very
And
suspicious.
it's all different than when it happens.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that it's going to be that way. I am getting different lines, so that seems to be the most consistent one.
Oh, yeah.
And if only a few pop up, a handful instead of like 80, I won't have to like tell everybody whatever you do, don't lease any.
They have no problem you driving 10 clicks to your super box
Yeah.
that's across your island. 1 box.
Well, the idea is so they wouldn't have to be in Central Grove specific, so the ones that would have to move, say, for example, drive to Tiverton won't.
And then what? It's according to what the post office decides.
Yeah, well, the post office also, you only get a box at the post office if you're within the village limits and not along the rural route.
Yeah, it's changed though. That's
I'm-
changing with it.
I'm staying on it, though. I'm giving the fellow, I don't have his name for anything, it was John something, is the supervisor for the Yarmouth region. I'm keeping my eyeballs peeled and my ears open.
When it comes to your area, we'll remind you.
All right.
Thank you very much for your looking into things.
Yep.
Next is Attitudes East, September 16th and 17th. Gordon sent this out. He would suggest that Marissa and Jimmy as airport working group members and probably some of the citizen reps attend. They think it's going to be around September.
It's September 16th and 17th in Halifax.
It's going to be in Halifax.
That's
okay.
what, yeah, and it's going to be held at the Westin. But I read that and when I saw it come out, and it is something that I'd be interested in attending because I think it would pertain to the airport.
Mhm. I would just automatically assume if you guys decide to go that you will deal with it.
Yeah.
We have a bylaw and policy with the September 16th, Monday night.
Yeah, this is 16th and 17th. We'll have to look at the agenda of this. See what,
Yeah, 'cause it's our-
Especially if we're going to have another regional.
But even if you're there, sometimes you just, like I had to miss the last one.
Anyway,
Anyway, I thought it was interesting, but it's not anything that interests me.
I just wonder, it isn't something that we usually do, but
Citizen reps are allowed to attend. It's not, it is. It's like our Heritage Committee, our citizen reps are allowed to attend, our police committee,
We would pay for their room
yes,
and reservations.
and mileage, yeah, always. I mean, you can't send there the whole committee, but
No. Two?
whatever you fellows decide at your committee level.
Maybe one of each, maybe we could.
Or
We can talk about it after.
You guys can decide at your committee meeting.
it is a very good program for our, don't see very many like that.
Okay. The next is the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 22, Bear River. What they're asking for is a letter of support because they're having a grant to make changes to help reduce heating costs. And I was wondering if we should have Terry looking at seeing what they want to do and then a letter come
Yeah,
to
there's
that.
no specifics whatsoever.
Where's
I
that?
have a question, weren't they closed down for the specific?
They're open again.
Yeah, they were closed for a month.
No, it wasn't.
It's,
Nobody.
membership
Membership?
issues.
Oh, issues. So they do have members still going. I mean, I know they're all getting older, that's the thing.
But no, that's not the issue.
Huh?
That's all right.
I'm just wondering.
No, it was something to do with membership and I got it fixed.
Okay. I agree.
So, should we have,
If council wishes, we can send him.
and that way we can find out what they want
But-
and then a letter can go.
I think we can send a letter and anything they need, if they're obviously applying for
But for
some
what?
funding.
Yeah, but,
Yeah, what from, what for? It also says, make changes to help reduce heating costs, that end.
Yep.
We support the Bear River Legion Branch number 22 in lowering its heating costs, and we vigorously,
thank you,
whatever.
David. You're quite capable.
I'll move
So-
that, I'll move that we send a letter of support.
Okay, and will someone second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried, but we will have Terry go out, and that way we can have a good letter.
Yeah.
The next is the UNSM conference resolutions. There is a deadline coming up, and that's why it's here. Is there anything that we were going to bring forward?
I can't think of anything right now.
No, I haven't.
And that's why,
There is a thing I'm looking into, but I don't have enough information in regards to the fisheries.
well, yeah, because there is a deadline.
August, but we don't have any we have the committee whole on the 12th.
Yep, and
Would that be a good time for me to pop anything out if I'm able to get the info?
If you have anything by then, because if we don't have it in by the 17th, it doesn't happen.
I got it, no problem.
Yes.
Just want to clarify something though, that whatever you send in, it's got to be something pertaining to municipalities. It can't be something that's driven by the provincial or federal governments.
Oh, yeah, that's.
Okay, well, that last resolution I passed was in regards to how the province does the medical system and doctors.
Yeah, but we're involved with that.
We're involved.
We're involved with that.
Okay.
And that was that was through the rural caucus to
Mhm.
take the issue to the board.
Yeah.
It wasn't a UNSM.
This might be something I could talk,
resolution.
maybe I could talk to you later, Jimmy, about it and see if there's any way I can wiggle it in.
Well, if it fits, yeah.
Okay. Talk to Jimmy. I'm gonna write that down, my little note here. Thank you, Jimmy.
Well,
Okay, the next is our letter from the Digby Harbor Port Association Port Day sponsorship.
Now, since this letter came out, or we received it, I have spoken to Peter McClellan, and he's indicated that they have had some corporate sponsorships for their dinner and some of the reception. So I'm suggesting that if we do anything, it would be as a community patron, the $200.
Well, I was under the impression, when I spoke to Peter, really what they were just looking for now is some prizes for the golf classic. Now,
Okay,
I
so
may
that
have
could be-
misunderstood him.
Well, no, he did indicate that they had a lot of their major sponsors in place.
Yes, that's what he told us the other day at our meeting.
So that's fine, and we can provide them
That's
some
what,
gifts.
okay. Says-
First prize, a municipality of Digby pen.
David, thank you very much. Okay. Next is the CAO report and financials. And actually, you saw a lot of things in red this time, which I really
Mhm.
liked.
I did change up the format a little bit
Yeah,
with the updates from the previous meeting, and I guess I'm just looking for some input.
Okay, well-
Also, anything that's, can be attributed to our strategic plan, that's something, or our ICSP, that's an item that I'll usually highlight as well, that it is part of the strategic plan.
okay.
For example, there's a council action item back from April about establishing a volunteer committee. That's something that came forward from not only the council strategic priority, but also the ICSP. So that way it'll give you an idea, the issues that are actually tied to our
Outstanding.
strategic plan. Also give you an idea of all the issues that aren't part of our strategic plan either.
That's just true. Dave Warden?
There was one thing in the report, and it made me think that we have to do something soon, and that's to deal with the energy drinks.
Yes.
So we have to talk about when we're going to get together and meet with the respective businesses.
Yes, and maybe after this meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to remind everyone before we go on further, there is no meeting on July 29th, there is no meeting on August 5th. On August the 12th, remember at 4:45, you're going to be meeting with the Westport Village Commission,
What day was that?
August 12th.
August 12th,
And that's right
And then
before
it's-
5, right?
at 4:45.
Oh, 4:45.
And then at 6 PM, we have Committee of the Whole. August 19th and 26th, there is no meeting. September the 2nd, there is no meeting. September the 9th at 6 is Committee of the Whole. September the 16th is Transportation at 5 o'clock and Bylaw and Policy at 6. September the 23rd is Council, and the 30th, we're having no meetings. So we are having it quite easy. Please enjoy. Now, under the action items, you saw like the following up and waiting for response. So is there any questions from the report that anyone wants to ask? As I said, I'd like to change, whoops.
I'd like to echo, I like the changes. I like how the lack of internet service and how it's ongoing, and I like the bullets chronological. I'm liking it. Just saying, I like how it's nice and easy to read, especially with the colors on the computer one.
Okay.
Makes a nice.
Yeah, I noticed it, it just made more sense, that narrative
Well,
to me.
Now, the next is the capital and special projects update.
There's really not a lot to report there. We're still working on our current capital budget, which will be a 5-year plan. So council's had one meeting to discuss it, and so it will be presented back to council at the committee of the whole, and hopefully then it'll go to council in September for approval.
Deputy Warden?
In regards to the Maud Lewis site, are we going to be having some sort of like a relaunch of that space? Because now that we
Yeah.
have the signage there,
In September, it's probably,
do we have a date yet?
no, it's supposed to be arranging it, but you know how it is to bring in the art gallery.
We're doing it, yeah, in conjunction with the art gallery. There is definitely something planned.
All right, good.
I think we should do it.
Yeah.
Okay, the next is our June payables. Someone so moved?
It's in this, right? At the end?
That's right there on your paper. $547,394.97.
It's on your agenda.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get someone.
Looking at the wrong one. Okay, I'll move $547,394.97 be made for the June payrolls.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Financial report was there. Any questions or concerns? Any comments? Okay, the next is our correspondence. There was a counterterrorism response 2013 Southwest Health Report to the community. The SPCA increases investigations report, Kerry press release, CFL lights, Health Canada, and that's really important. I would think anyone who has those lights to remember that. Wharf Rat Rally newsletter, Tri-County Local Food Network Summer Newsletter, DCEC Thank You, Recreation Nova Scotia, update to recreational use of wood roads on former Bowater lands, Honorable David Wilson's dialysis unit, rural mailbox review, National Conservatory buys Irving lands, affordable housing, South Shore. Thank you from the Transport Declare Society, the CMHC seed funding application, the CMHC seed funding program details, Wellesley Institute Canadian Housing and Affordability, Nova Scotia Government Housing Strategy, the TPGSD Housing That Works discussion paper, Rural Housing Report, Cost of Homelessness paper, Strategic Host Action Plan, Road to Solutions Report, AMANS Thank You, Harold Jr. Terrio, congratulations, our MLA. Tri-County Women's Center, thank you. Town of Yarmouth, congratulations. Admiral Digby Museum, thank you. Property Innovation Council, the RFPE delivery. Nova Scotia Agriculture, new administrator. Tyview Terrace, thank you. Copy to NSTIR from Carolyn Norwood. Any comments on any of the above? Yes?
The first one, the counterterrorism response. I'd like to see that maybe the correspondence go to our John LeBon, our coordinator.
To our Remo?
Yes.
Okay. We don't need that as a motion?
No.
Okay. Very good. Anything else? There are no committee of the whole recommendations. Bylaw and policy recommendations, approval of the following recommendations. Would someone like to so move the first?
I'll move the 1005 Council and Citizen Remuneration Policy Amendment.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Next, extension of contract.
I'd like to move that, just because I'm so happy with everything about it. Extension of contract with DH Business Services.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
Just trying to share.
Oh, no, it's just that I thought, oh, God. Nobody's going to second. Advisory committees is next. The
Maybe
Digby
nervous.
Source Water Protection Advisory Committee, not so much me. Councillor Adams, motion to appoint representative.
I didn't attend the last meeting, so I see here that we're approving the appointment of Bill Newton.
Bill LeBon has been our citizen member of that committee for the last couple of years, and we advertised for a new citizen and didn't receive any, and I approached Mr. LeBlanc, and he agreed to continue to sit on the committee.
Okay, so I move that we appoint Bill LeBlanc as municipality district representative on the town of Digby Source Water Protection Advisory.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Next is the Heritage Advisory Committee, Councillor Tudor, Councillor Adams.
I
Did
just,
you-
oh, sorry. Sorry, I thought you were finished.
No. January minutes. Now, Councillor Tudor.
We didn't have enough for a quorum, but we went over what we were, sort of a brief overview of some of the projects. I would like to point out that on Saturday that, was it Sunday? Sunday. Trying to get my days right.
Tell me what you want to point out.
I just want to point out our enjoyable bluegrass gospel heritage award that we gave out to the Bayview United Church on the anniversary of its 140th birthday.
We awarded a plaque presentation.
Mhm.
Okay. wasn't a bluegrass.
Oh, there was blueberry, there was, I focused on that pretty heavily. It
Yes,
was
you did.
lovely.
It was for the Bay United Church
Yes.
Presbyterian, and that was on Sunday.
Could I say something?
Yes, please.
Bluegrass Church.
I spoke at the Bayview United Church yesterday on the Grant Heritage Advisory Committee, and they were chosen as the group or individual for 2013 for the preservation and maintenance of their church. Their trustees are working very hard to keep that church in the property. And Rob organized it and also did a little talk about, is it William Ellis? Yeah. He had a group of people who listened to his presentation on the history of stone in the cemetery. And as Councilor Tudor has said, it was very enjoyable.
That's the truth. Okay. Thank you very much. The next is the Planning Advisory Committee. Warden Gregory, Councilor Adams, Councilor Tudor. Our Planning Advisory Committee minutes are there from April. We have a meeting upcoming this September?
We haven't got a date yet. We were going to set the next date
We
when
were going to do the full review.
Chris had compiled all the changes that were made during the line-by-line review.
The draft is technically done. We have to meet again and go through that draft, and then we'll be bringing it forward to council. Deputy Warden?
I read the information that was provided to us in our package. One thing I'd like to ask is that maybe when it does come to council, that we can have the changes highlighted in red so we know the difference of what, or have the wording of the old part and then have the new wording, because I don't remember some of the stuff you were changing. Like, it's got the new stuff there, but it doesn't tell me what the old stuff was. So I'd like to know the whole thing.
Yeah, it's been 10 years or more.
Yeah, it's been quite a while.
I'm surprised you can't remember.
No, I do remember sitting on it when we put the Conway plan together.
Okay, the next.
13 years ago.
The next is the Police Advisory Board, and at this time, I would like to say that Councilman Manzer has said he's going to step down, and the two reps will be myself and Maritza going into the Joint Police Board. George, I was informed tonight of this decision.
We are mentioned.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Is this some prep
So
for?
then because we're going to a joint meeting in a joint board, and we will be meeting in September with the town. They will have 2 council members and 2 reps. They know we're going to have a 3rd rep because we had just appointed, and there's no problem with that.
And how does that work with
Councilor
Angela?
Adams?
How does that work with Angela? She's going to be our 3rd, is that why?
She will be the provincial rep on the committee for the joint committee.
Okay, I just know.
Yeah, they didn't have one yet or something here.
I believe what they did, their provincial rep is moved into the position of their actual representative.
Oh, okay. The next is the Remo Advisory Committee, Warden Gregory, Deputy Warden McAlpine. There was a 2013 hurricane briefings and the March minutes. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
just comment that we had a meeting and we did do a review of the hurricane briefings. And if it's in your package and if you look at it, it's very detailed on the hurricanes and the impacts that they can have, and best bolt down your hatches and hold on.
Hold on.
It's looking like you could have an active hurricane season.
Councilor Tudor?
I found it utterly fascinating. I was like, oh man, look how long this is. And then I started reading it and I got totally interested in it. Is there any way for me to post that to my Facebook for people in the community, because we're so impacted by weather in our area? I'm not too sure if that's a...
You'd have to check through Gordon and the Remo. I don't think that's for the public,
I was,
I'm not sure if that's.
and that would have to be checked.
oh shoot, because I found like a hurricanes for dummies, and I'm a dummy, so I found it fantastic.
We have to check that,
Okay.
because that's,
Yeah, if it is possible, it's something I wouldn't mind recommending for people in my area if that's
And you all
publicly
heard
available information.
on the weekend, there was a tornado watch in Sydney?
Sydney?
Yeah, it was in St. John, or over in
New Brunswick, they thought,
Reach Narrows,
I
yeah.
thought that-
They have said that it was actually.
Hurricane. I mean, a tornado.
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah.
So, you just never know
It's
with
getting
weather
closer, it's getting
changes.
closer all the time.
The Western Regional Housing Authority, Art Fitzgerald, his report isn't due yet. It doesn't come till September. Age-Friendly Community Planning Committee, Counselor Adams. I know that you guys are waiting for a meeting. Is there any,
Well, actually, myself and Matthew, Raymond, and Kara and Dawn are going to have a phone conference with Jacqueline to see what's going on, see if we can get moving on phase 2.
should our rep be on there as well?
Well, this will be a conference, we're not inviting the whole steering committee, we just wanted to have this,
Oh.
this conference call first, and then see what's going on, and then we'll.
Well, and my question is, the funding that we received, is there not a deadline for us to use it?
I don't think, I mean, they're the
I
hell,
thought,
yeah.
it's not very, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, no, I understand the frustration, and it's just
Months.
been months since, yeah.
They still have to have a report to John.
It wasn't Dawn that we're looking for the report, it was from Jacqueline. That's why we're having the conference call.
Because I think that's all.
Me too, I love them.
Thank you.
Okay, the next is the airport working group, Deputy Warden McAlpine, Counselor Adams. So we just heard that there is going to be a conference.
That's right, and there hasn't been a meeting since the last council meeting, but on July the 6th, we did have the fly-in at the airport, and we had the dedication of the pilot's lounge in memory of Ron Cooper. And I believe most of us was there to attend that, and it was a well-attended event.
Well received.
Yeah.
Annapolis Digby Economic Development Agency, Counselor Tudor, alternate Counselor Adams. After this meeting, this will be off of our agenda as a regional joint committee. We need a motion by council to dissolve ADITA. So would someone so move?
I'll make that motion. As per sections 10 and 36 of the ADITA Municipal Governance and Funding Agreement, that the municipality of the District of Digby approve the recommendation of the ADITA Board for the dissolution of the Annapolis Digby Economic Development Agency.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. You also got the final AGM report and AGM motions and business plan. Next is our Bay of Fundy Marine Transportation Association. We will be having a meeting in August for an AGM. We will also be attending Port Days. We had a reception to thank Jim and others for their work for the St. John Ferry, which has come to happen. We also had people from St. John attend that reception. Counselor Adams attended with me as well. We were driving from one end of the county to the other end. It was totally different. Didn't think we were going to ever get out of the cars. But right now, what we have asked for is if there's any chance that we will be able to give some comments or suggestions towards a new or new-to-us ferry. And there we are scheduling a meeting with Breaker. They were trying not to have it while I was gone, so I don't know what's going to happen.
I would like to maybe mention something about the Jim McAlpine suggestion that whatever ferry comes in is be compatible with the existing infrastructure. I thought that was very good.
I've already got that down there.
Okay.
My notes.
There, I just thought I'd remind, I thought that was a really good suggestion.
Thank you. Appreciate that. The next is the Digby Annapolis Development Corp.
No meeting.
Deputy Warden McAlpine, Counselor Tudor, I know there's been no meeting. Until we sell the Adida meeting, we will have this.
Sell
The
the,
building?
yeah,
We still have this is still a partnership between ourselves and Annapolis County.
Yeah, but until.
And we still have the old RDA building
Yeah.
in Cornwallis, and it is listed for sale, I believe. Or they were doing an RFP, did they ever put a sign on it? I don't know if they did.
I don't know, I can
But,
follow it.
but they, Annapolis County was going to be listing the property for sale. Currently, there still is a tenant in there, which is the provincial government. They've leased out quite a bit of the space in there, which is good, so we do have revenue coming in from that property. So, but since the call center building has sold on the Burns Hill property, we haven't had a meeting, so.
Okay. My only comment that I wanted to make, Annapolis County has now hired for a new CAO. It's a gentleman from New Brunswick, and Warden Reg Ritchie told us the name, but
John Ferguson.
thank you very much. I was going to say,
John
it was
Ferguson.
John somebody. So just to let you know that there has been, and perhaps you should have a meeting to meet the new CAO with this building and go on with that and where we're coming from. And I'm sure that the Annapolis County, but I'm just saying from our end, maybe we need to have that meeting. Just a suggestion. The next is the Digby Area Learning Association. Councillor Manzer, April and May minutes are attached.
Yeah, we had a meeting at the end of June, and they decided to sell their building at the conference center. There was a person or a fellow from Bear River interested in buying it, but the Annapolis Basin Conference Center had first right of refusal. And since then, they've decided to, I think, buy it back, so, and rent us the space we need,
Oh,
so.
very good. So that's good
Yeah.
news.
Yeah, it was costing a little more than they expected to operate it.
Did you go to the graduation?
Yes.
Gala graduation, yes, he did.
But there wasn't anything, they didn't have a presentation. Nobody met the criteria, so for whatever award we were presenting,
Citizenship, yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
they
Volunteer
said nobody met the
citizenship
criteria
award.
this year,
in
so.
all the years
So.
of things, we always beat them.
And I listened to some of the reports of what someone got here. I saw personally, looking at it, to me, it just seemed like, oh, that one looked like a real good
There was
citizen. That
no.
one looked like a real good.
So I still went to the graduation.
no good citizens graduating this year. It's terrible
It's
news.
just kind of,
No, it's just one of those things.
That's right.
yeah.
The next is the Digby Annapolis Development Corp. Deputy Warden McAlpine, Councillor Tudor. I just did that,
Yep.
sorry. The Digby Annapolis Tourism, sorry about that, George. Councillor Manzer, there is no minutes.
Yeah, they didn't have any meeting.
Okay? It's easy.
Yeah.
Are they planning, was there something going to be going on with them with some more signage or?
I can't remember, we had the last meeting, I think was in May, and
Okay.
they haven't had a meeting since then.
Just I heard something that tourism was going to be doing something and it was just on the street. So I
Maybe,
just was
yeah.
wondering. That's just talk then. Digby Area Recreation Commission, Warden Gregory, Councilor Manners. We have our April minutes, our Community League's annual report, the draft vision statement, DART 2 Annual Sports Council, June minutes. Why don't we have May minutes? Wind turbine installation concept paper and the draft budget. At this time, I will tell you, our budget has not been approved. Our budget has been changed, and we just received a copy today of the new budget. I can't make comments, I just know the other one was not acceptable. Well, there had to be changes made. Our Bob Powell met with Linda Fraser, our CAO, and Tom Ostringer, the town CAO, and they discussed opportunities, what can happen, because we have only agreed to a 3% increase on our budget. They have been doing well with swimming. They are doing well with the movie and the free swim. Our day camps have been running well. The only thing is just to see what we can do for money. Any other comments you want to make?
I
George?
can't remember anything else other than that. It was pretty well, everything, I think.
Okay, Linda?
The 3% increase was based on a 3% increase over last year's budget.
627,000.
Not the actuals, but what wasn't included in last year's budget, and that's one of the discussions that Tom and I had with Bob, is that additional to that budget now is the loan payment of $30,000 to pay for the parking lot.
And interest.
Redevelopment. Well, the interest is included
Oh,
in the
yeah.
operational side,
Okay.
but we agreed that we would add that to our budget in terms of paying the capital. I'm not changing our budget. It'll be over by probably about $12,000 in that particular line item, because I didn't budget for the capital item, so. But I think globally our budget will still be fine.
So there'll be more diligence with our budget, where we're going. I was surprised personally that where I thought we were going to be and where we were at two different phases. Linda and Tom will be meeting quarterly. Is it quarterly?
We offered to meet more regularly with manager Bob Powell to talk about if there's any issues that we should know about with regard to budgeting, and just sort of increase the level of communication between the senior level staff.
Okay. Yes, Jimmy?
My question is like, here we're in July, and why is it that the budget hasn't been finalized at DART? I would have thought this would have been done a few months ago.
Months ago?
Yeah, a few months ago, because normally they would have that information provided to us before we finalize our budget. And that didn't happen this year, and I don't know if it happened last year. But it's something that I feel that information should be coming.
We brought that up very strongly, how we felt the other council's budget is not done yet. And I think things slowed down at DART. And we are saying, and this is what I brought up, like, I will say I was upset at that meeting. I think it showed quite clearly that I was upset at that meeting. You know, we're just hearing and getting a budget, and I felt it was unacceptable.
Yeah, and rightfully so, because, like, for example, we allowed a 3% increase. Now, if they needed more money than that, we needed a lot more information a lot sooner. And so they gotta have to amend their budget to accommodate to the amount of money that we're going to provide.
And that's being
basically
done, yeah.
But the thing is it has to go back to them, I think, at your next meeting, to let them know that, you know, this isn't acceptable, practice. So we need to have the budget information on time.
And Tom and I are going to meet, part of that is the budget process, that we're going to meet with Bob in March, early in March, to start preparing, preparing.
Yeah, because he usually starts about February.
He does, yeah.
And this year, I don't know what happened.
And we approved our budget actually a month earlier than we normally do. So, again, that goes with the communication that I think needs to
Well,
be
I brought up
improved.
several times that we were working on our budget, did I not, George?
Yeah.
And saying we need something. That was something I did bring up. The next is the Digby Harbor Port Association. You've got the pictures of the excavator out of the water. There was the April, May, and June minutes. We are not having a meeting this month. Our breakwater is coming along slowly. Am I allowed to mention for tomorrow?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay. Tomorrow we have our Liberal leader. It just wasn't there for a moment, who is coming at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning down to the breakwater, and I plan on being down there to meet and make a little discussion. So the Port Association people will be there.
How is Breakwater coming along? Is on schedule?
No, it's behind.
Behind schedule.
It is behind, but it's coming. They have to work with the tides.
Yeah.
And they don't want anyone to drown.
Yeah.
Have they given us the 14 days yet?
Not as yet.
And it has been asked for several times. Also, I did want to say that we are getting ready for Port Days, which is August 13th, 14th, and 15th, with the Tartan Classic happening. I will say there will be an invitation coming for the 13th for this council for members to attend with an RSVP. I am asking at this time, Deputy Warden, are you willing to say a few words that evening
Sure.
and next morning? Yeah.
13th and 14th?
Yes. You will be bringing greetings, and he said it both in the evening and then on the morning of. Council again is invited for the morning of. In the afternoon, it is the Tartan Classic, which our team, who does not want any outsiders coming in, mentioning no names.
Actually, there's been a substitution made.
Oh, yeah, sure. Which one's going and which one's coming?
Well, it was I just had a scheduling conflict. I didn't realize the date, and I've asked Deputy Warden McAlpine to step in my place.
Oh, yeah, sure.
The ringer.
No.
Actually, Linda's the ringer.
Linda's the ringer.
Linda, well, we had a great team, and they're defending their honor.
We're defending
And I'm
champions.
actually
their honor?
away.
The champions.
But I was teasing them. I said, I'm going to go and we're going to look at,
If we ever have need for a boxing team.
we're going to have a golf tournament at some time that I'm going to go to.
A boxing tournament?
Boxing?
No,
Oh, sorry.
he says boxing.
If we ever have a boxing
Greg,
team need, I'll sign up for that, but anything else, I don't know.
Okay, we will go on. Digby Library Committee, Deputy Warden McAlpine.
There's been no meeting since last council meeting.
Digby Fire Association, Councilor Manzer.
They had a June meeting, which I was away, so I didn't attend. The next one in September. They're presently looking for a president and a vice president, and there's going to be ads in the Clare Shopper and the local paper. So if you know of anybody who's interested or wants to take that on,
Yeah.
pass the word on.
Okay. Highway 101 Task Force, Warden Gregory, Councilor Adams. There was a meeting, Councilor Adams?
On July, no, that's not happening. Sorry, on, what day was it? June 22.
Yeah.
We met. We looked at the stakeholders, the comments made, we're planning for a meeting on July 30th with the deputy minister.
Mhm.
That's the only meeting that we have. So we attended at the Grand in Yarmouth, and we spoke to the Deputy Minister of Transportation at that point. And immediately after that, I started to get some emails from his executive secretary assistant, and we're setting up a meeting. Now, he did meet, the date we meet with Junior and
Great.
Greg, or Wayne. Wayne. Yeah. That day that we couldn't go because
Yes.
something
Oh,
else
yes,
on?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I think they met with them. So they
Yes.
have invited those two, as well as Greg Kerr, to attend the one that we're having at the end of the month. So we're hopeful, although we heard the other night that Greg was away on holidays, so we'll see
Yeah.
whether he's going to be there or not. But it was quite fast, and I'm really pleased with that.
The next is the Industrial Commission, Warden Gregory, Deputy Warden McAlpine, the April minutes. We just had a meeting,
We had a meeting last week.
I was going to say, was it last week?
We had a steering committee meeting of the Industrial Commission, and we've hired a consultant to work on a strategic plan for the Industrial Commission, and that'll be up and coming. It'll be started right away. John Joseph was the successful recipient of the bidding process, and We had our first initial meeting with him last week to basically have a good discussion with him on what we're looking for out of the document.
Thank you. The next is the King's Transit Authority, Warden Gregory. I will be attending the meeting on Wednesday, and I will then tell you what's going on, because I do not know. David attended our last meeting. Next, it says medic. Would you remove Counselor Tudor's name from medic? And actually, where should we put that, Linda? We're just going to receive minutes from that committee.
Yeah,
Correspondence?
after this meeting, because we had June minutes where Councilor Tudor was still on the committee. And
Yeah.
after that, it'll go to correspondence.
Okay. And we will be getting minutes.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, in the minutes from May,
Yeah.
it says absent, regrets, absent, David Tudor, Linda Gregory. Your name shouldn't have been there, should it?
I'm the alternate, but no.
Oh.
It both was removed.
I just thought that was sort of strange to see that. I know, if you don't respond, you're absent. If you do respond, then say regrets, right?
Mhm.
But I just was surprised to see both your names there.
And I looked at that and still didn't see it.
No, just happened to catch it.
Thank you. We'll make, well, actually, the chair has already talked to our CAO, and they know that we're only going to be getting minutes, so
This went
our
to me
names
as
should be
well
off.
at that meeting.
Our next is the Senior Safety Committee, Counselor Tudor, Deputy Warden McAlpine, the AGM minutes, and the May minutes.
There hasn't been a meeting since last council.
No,
Okay. Transport declared, Counselor Manzer, we have the May and September 2012 minutes. 2012, okay. Rural Transport Association 2013 Annual Report.
Yeah, that may be May 2013, I'm not sure. No?
I have a question for that.
Way last May?
Just a minute.
Okay. I know they didn't have a meeting from September through till, we had a meeting in June, so it
Oh,
was,
okay.
there was a big span in there where we didn't have any meetings, and then we had our annual general meeting, and
So maybe they'll meet more regularly.
yeah, they just have a scheduling problem of trying to get everybody together at the same time.
Yeah.
Because we did, I think they had one other meeting, they didn't have a quorum, so they
It doesn't count.
couldn't pass any.
Okay.
you know.
Counselor Tudor, you
I-
want to ask a question?
Yeah, I have a request. At your next transport declare meeting, would you mind asking for a breakdown for how often they're coming down to my district? Because it's a separate line item. They asked for extra money for it. I'm just wondering.
It's not a separate line item. They did not ask for extra money.
6,000.
That was for the whole municipality, David.
Was that for the whole, I thought that was for the neck and islands.
No, it was for the Bear River, it's for Smith's Cove, it's for the whole municipality. 7,000 is being spent.
I thought there was another number and then,
Just hold on. 7,000 is being spent for, from Weymouth up around Barton, Brighton, all that. The other 6,000 that we agreed to was for the whole municipality.
okay, I thought the letter specifically mentioned the MAC.
No, it's for the
Oh, it was
whole
a couple months
municipality.
ago, I guess. All right, just working from
I
memory
just had
there.
to check on that.
All right.
I thought they were coming down once a week. They were not coming down once a week?
Well, I
I think
don't,
that was the plan, is once a week.
That was the plan,
So I
was
think
once a
they-
week.
yeah, I'm not too sure how
And when
this
I
went.
last talked to Clarendon, what he said was, they have a driver down there, and, you know, they're
Yeah,
trying.
Spicer, yeah.
They're trying to work something out with their people, or,
Okay.
yeah.
So
But
instead of taking a bus all the way down there,
They'll have a
use
car.
the volunteer.
Yeah, that's what
driver
they've been
that's
doing
there.
so far. I was
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
I was just curious about how often it's being used.
Well, it's only for once a week.
Okay. I know there is stuff on the side though besides that. Because I used it for somebody that had to get to Digby.
Yeah, if there's a request, like special request for somebody has to, and, you know, Clarendon will find somebody or have somebody that.
One of the
will-
volunteers.
that will-
Yeah, I was just curious
will
about
drive
how
them,
often.
you know, and then they send their bill to Clarendon and he pays it.
Yeah, no problem.
If it's, you know, person in need or whatever. you know,
Mhm. Thank you.
So if there is, you know, if there's anybody there that needs transportation, give Transport Declare a call. and
I have.
They'll make arrangements.
I have a couple times.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Skyview Terrace is Deputy Warden McAlpine, Councilor Manzer. We have not been receiving minutes. Could we please get the minutes?
Sure we can.
Sure can.
And I'd like them since you started.
Okay. Also, at the last meeting, we had a meeting on July 8th, and I just want to announce that Councillor Manzer is the vice chair, and that Councillor Harvey is the chair. So we had our AGM at that meeting. But well, between the two of us, we'll see that you get the minutes.
Yeah, we have not been getting them. I really think that's important for
Yeah.
us. And we had asked, and I'm hoping that they're more filled out because they were too scarce, too pointed, and we asked, what we left, to please have some more information in the minutes.
How far back do you want them? Like, I'll go in and,
I like to have them since we haven't been getting them, since you guys came on.
okay.
Well, I have them on my computer somewhere. I just got
Do you?
to.
You know.
Or I can stop in and get them, copies from Deborah or whatever.
Yeah.
And,
Whatever works,
Yeah.
and then
I'll do
give
it.
them to Pat and
Yeah.
she'll put them out.
okay.
Not right now, I'm gonna go there.
One more time.
Yeah.
Okay. But keep me in mind.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Okay, next is Upper Clemens. Oh, I want to say first, congratulations, George.
Thank you.
Woo-hoo.
The next is Upper Clemens Park Society Councilor Adams. We have June minutes.
We met this past Thursday. We had a breakdown of how the park and the theme park and the adventure park did for the first month or so. With the terrible weather we had, the adventure park is forced down in numbers as to what we expected, because last year we didn't open the adventure park until June, and they opened this time, I think, along in May. So they had quite a bit of time, but numbers are down. At the theme park, the students' trips in June, the bus trips, they were way up. They went from, I think, 7,000 students to 8,500, so that helped bottom line quite a bit. And they're getting tours in now from Greenwood, the cadets, and from Fort Wallace as well, so they're getting those cadets coming in. He's not too concerned because they're only into like 26 or 27 days of the park being open, and he's sure that that will pick up as the time goes on. So that's where we are. Any questions?
Jimmy?
The new part of the park,
Adventure.
the adventure park, are they seeing the numbers increase pretty good over there?
No, that's what I just said, because of the bad weather.
Yeah,
They haven't really, no. But they've really cut back on what they're trying, Stuart McDonald is now running it,
Okay.
and they have nothing but great praise for him, he's doing an excellent job. So he's cut back on labor, and they're trying to get the people who are working there as well to go over to the theme park to work on those days if they haven't got people. So they're trying to,
Okay.
financially trying to tighten the belt in any which way they can.
Yeah.
They had, last week or the week before, they had some members of the co-op and from the Maritime Tourist Association and some other people go in through the park. They're looking for money, but a co-op doesn't want anything to do with it. The only thing a co-op will agree to is money for strategic plan, because they're going to have to do a strategic plan in September for 5 years, so they said there might be some money for that. Just on the other comment on that was that tourism is down like 30% in some places, big time. So they had an agreement with, I can't remember if it was 7-Eleven or Needs, and they were going to promote once a week someone win passes, and it was going to be in New Brunswick, PEI, and Nova Scotia, so it's like 120 stores. But when Magnetic Hill and Crystal Palace and PEI sort of got wind of it, they said there's no way they're doing that. So we're only into 60 stores in Nova Scotia that they're going to promote that. But they still allowed 30 billboards. They had asked for billboards in Brunswick and I guess in PEI and stuff. They still allowed the 30 billboards, so that was a plus. They've done a really good job on advertising. I don't know whether you've seen the ads on TV at a separate time at the news. It's on, 15 seconds or whatever it is, but they're really doing a good job with that. So he wasn't too concerned with the numbers, and we can't do anything about the weather.
Yeah, it's very weather related.
Yeah.
Right now, our problems, yeah.
And they shut the theme park down, so it's raining.
On Westport, it's a double on a sunny day what it is on even a foggy, let alone a rainy day.
Anyway.
Okay, the next
So
is
you
waste.
so you either get 2
I'm
people
sorry.
or 4 people, huh?
Hey,
Oh, okay.
ouch.
The next is Waste Check. Warden Gregory and Deputy Warden McAlpine. You have the February Regional Chair minutes, the April minutes and reports, the Waste Check final discussion paper. We have not had a meeting since our last committee, but the Policy Committee happened to meet today. And I wanted to say we have done a Waste Check bylaw update, which will be taken forward to the authority, or, to our board. We are working on a conflict of interest policy that we're not quite finished with yet. Our compassionate leave policy needed some tightening up, and we have done that. These are all going forward to our board. The safe work practices, general procedures, and illegal dump site inspections. We are looking at an employee policy practice review checklist and how we're fixing that up. The employee performance review form, we are redoing that. And application for training and development we are working on. So it was actually a very good meeting. And then Deputy Warden McAlpine helped do a tour of our building. I will say I was very pleased when one of the counselors from Argyle made a comment, this building is over 2-3 years old. And I went, yes. So he was impressed. He was impressed about the pictures. He thought it was great that we were showing staff and we had heritage up and around. Very good comments.
Yeah.
Anything you wanted to comment on there?
No, like, the building was opened in 1984,
Mhm.
and, it's been very well maintained. They, both the counselor from Yarmouth and from Argyle were both quite impressed with the system. I showed the counselor from the town of Yarmouth the heating system we have in this building and how it's cut way back on our energy consumption. So, I think they were both quite pleased with what we've done with the building and what we have to work with.
Very impressed.
Yeah.
Thank you, actually, for taking them around.
Yeah, no problem.
I really appreciated that. The next was the Western Counties Regional Library, Deputy Warden McAlpine, March minutes and annual report.
There
New chair.
hasn't been a meeting, there hasn't been a meeting since the last council meeting. We met, the last meeting was on the 20th of June, and we met on council on the 24th, and I'd done my report at that time. So there hasn't been a meeting.
Thank you. And last but not least, Weymouth Doctor Recruiting Committee, Warden Gregory, Councilor Manzer.
If we're just waiting for word from Linda when the next meeting might be, have they arranged anything?
Nothing is
Nothing yet?
just been waiting for the
Okay.
fall. I think
Yeah.
we have something.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to do council reports, and we're going to start with Councilor Manzer.
Slow month, I guess. There was a couple committee meetings, the graduation for Dalla, and I guess that's about it.
Okay. Councilor Adams.
I did attend the fly-in for about an hour or so, and I wasn't feeling well, and I was going down real quick, so I didn't make it to the country. I'm sorry. Was not feeling well. Just on another note, I did attend the first tea in Weymouth. It was the 30th anniversary of the teas that are held at the historical building, and they asked me to speak because my father was the one who started it 30 years ago, and I had cake, and I cut the cake, and
That's been 30 years.
yeah, 30 years ago, when Weymouth celebrated their 200th anniversary? Yes, 1783. So, yes, and so I made some comments about things that I remember, and it was great, and I really liked the article in the paper, and it's good for listening to the teas. I don't think there was anything else. I think Warden Gregory's mentioned a few things that we attended. I did go to the Alt House property dedication as well on Friday.
Okay. The next is Councilor Tudor.
There's been more follow-up for those economic revitalization plan meetings I had. I've had some, my presence was requested at a community meeting of several quite well-educated members of the community, which I don't know as well as I might the people that are from the area. They recently moved there, and I found their advice, and they also offered to help me with stuff, and I've actually taken them up on that. And I find their advice to have been quite helpful so far, and it's just starting a nice little relationship with these people, and I hope it continues. There was the Outhouse family reunion, which went very well. A very historic family from, as you know, is one of the pair who, along with Mr. McKay, founded the village of Tiverton. Still lots of outhouses down there and variations of that: Powell, Morrill, Outhouse, Althouse, Uthusen, depending on who you're talking to. It's all outhouses, though. I had something sort of funny. There was a break-in at an elderly lady's house, and she didn't want to call the police. She called me, but I got to the bottom of it. It was an elderly gentleman who doesn't walk so well, went back with a pint to visit her. She wasn't there, made himself at home for an hour, smoked a couple cigarettes, and left the pint empty, and hobbled back out. So it wasn't nearly as serious as she might had otherwise had thought. It's quite the ways in the back. Doers and Dreamers, I had a complaint. Boar's Head is listed as Briar Island. I got a hold of them, and I think that's been well done with. Just confirmed with now all three restaurants, the Briar Island Lodge, the Lighthouse Cafe, and Lavina's have agreed to allow people for preparation of food for sale at their restaurants in off hours and off season. So maybe that'll be a nice, just for, in regards for a negligible fee that would cover, the power or whatever. That's going along quite well. Yeah, the community meetings had a couple more. Also, I'd like to point out that we've been going along quite nicely, and I'm very optimistic that Mr. Harvey, through the assistance of Mr. Harvey, resulting from the community meetings, the number one obstacle to economic development is certainly internet. I also recently had a letter forwarded to me from somebody that lost a sale for a house. They wanted to start their business here, move here to have a business. They left because they couldn't get good enough internet. And so opportunities like that falling through our fingers, especially in regards to my plan, is a very bitter pill. But I feel like things are coming along. Also, I've been putting the internet people into contact of people like the Fire Association and different businesses in the area that might have use with them. And there are still a few minor problems with the pager system, things like that, and there may be a solution, affordable solution to them, as from what they were saying. Prepared the toast for the graduating class. That was fun. Assisted with business plans in a very minor way, and also did minimal lighthouse stuff. Minimal, just to let you know. Not totally. I've managed to extradite myself from that to a small degree, or a large degree, really. And also, as I mentioned earlier, I've been following up concerns about this long-term sustainability of the post office's ferry complaints, and the Department of Transportation did a couple minor things, which I'm very sad to hear that Don Millette has moved on. That'll be, the fourth person since I've started this. And I have a meeting with him on July 26th, so I'm guessing that's off the agenda. So I don't know. I'm going to go talk to Mr. Flood and see what I can do for a next step on that one. Every time I feel like, I finally got it, the next meeting, the person has moved on. Is that 4 people in 3 years?
Yep, 2, 3, yep.
Wow. And so we're going into the 5th. Wow. It's very frustrating for me because I've been trying to get Freeport because, on occasion, large storms come into on that westernmost point of the province and blows everything away. And I just have visions of Freeport being blown away and it being all my fault because I wasn't pushy enough with the Department of Transportation.
But it'll be okay because you're going to have...
I'll go with it. I'll not have to move.
Remember, you're going to be the safe port for all the people.
Oh, for the zombies, yes. But maybe we're good for zombies, but not so good for a storm hitting during high tide. So I'm also going to collecting a lot of photographs of the Groundhog Day storm so I can... if either show it to them or beat them over the head with it, whichever one seems more useful at the time, to show what we're facing. It's not just, oh, I want it for aesthetic reasons, or, oh, we need a make work project. No, we need it because we get hit with giant, horrible storms that blow everything away about every 50 years, and it's been 36 years since the last one, so. And I went to a bunch of meetings, like council municipal meetings and committee meetings and, oh, and the housing. I'm very interested in the sustainable housing group I've been attending, not as a member of council, but there was a large amount of reading that was sent through. I would recommend taking the time and looking through those, in particular how homelessness manifests itself in rural areas in the form of like couch surfing. That's how we ended up with one of the kids staying with us, is all extents and purposes they're homeless. And that happens a lot, and people don't tend to connect that as homelessness, person couch surfing, but it is. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Deputy Warden McAlpine.
Since the last council meeting, on the 25th, I held a public meeting in Bear River with Warden Ritchie to discuss the changes to the central sewer system. And the meeting was very well attended by the public, and it was a very positive meeting. I think they were very pleased on the work that's been done. Our engineers got up and spoke and said that it's probably been the best job done in the 40 years he's been doing this kind of work, as far as the quality of the work goes, because the company that we hired didn't cut the asphalt once, and they've done a super job, and they've been very accommodating with the public. So, but the meeting also was for Annapolis County to talk to the residents to find out what the interest was on them hooking onto our system as well. There is a savings for the residents in Annapolis County. I believe they're going to save on an operational basis about $30,000 a year, but also upgrades that would have to be done to the system in Bear River would be around $450,000, whereas the cost for them to change over and hook into our system would be about $150,000. So right there's a direct savings of about $300,000 on top of the savings of the $30,000 in operations annually. Also,
Wow.
I'd asked that Rob Hersey, our staff person, could come and speak on the creative community project that he's working on for the Bear River community, and also the proposed changes to the parking lot downtown. So it was all positive. And then on July the 2nd, myself and the warden met with representatives from the town. We had a meeting to talk about our transfer station, and we co-own it with the town. And we had a good meeting to discuss the issues that we wanted to deal with there, on how the loads are going, and actually having commercial garbage or waste come into that site. And then on the 6th of July, I also attended the dedication of the Pilots Lounge in memory of Ron Cooper. And then on the 13th was the Cherry Carnival in Bear River. So that's it.
Okay.
For the sewer line coming from Bear River, is that running along River Road?
Yes.
Because I went down through there to go to Cherry Carnival, and you couldn't even,
You can't even
you
tell.
can't even see anywhere where they've done any excavation.
Yeah.
It's just like they took the sod out or whatever and put it right back in. It's just, you don't see anything.
They use mini excavators,
Yeah.
and between the asphalt and the guardrail, they
Yeah.
opened it up, put the pipe in and covered it over. You'd never know.
No, you can't even, you
There's
can't,
actually grass growing over
Yeah.
in some places right
Yeah.
now.
There's-
In another year, you'd never know.
there's no sign of any activity.
No,
Nothing.
they did a great job.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Oh, okay. Now it's my turn.
And the Goodrich turn.
I wanted to start by saying that I attended the Digby Community Education Center graduation on Wednesday, the 26th, and then I attended the Digby Regional High School graduation as well. From there, I attended the Joe Casey Humanitarian Award ceremony, and the person who won that was Terry Gilbert, or, yeah, it is Gilbert, sorry. I was thinking that was the wrong name again. Want to get people's names right. From there, I attended the transfer station meeting, the same one that Jimmy did. I attended the opening of the Lobster Bash. I attended the fly-in and the dedication to the late Ron Cooper room. We also, I had a meeting with a doctor who was looking at our area to come in on July the 9th at the Pines. And I also got the opportunity to meet with the Dr. Manning, who is here for 3 weeks and is coming back in November again to do short terms. She lives in Halifax. I also attended the Sandy Cove Fireman's Day evening celebration because I was working in the daytime. I also wanted to say that our Deputy CAO, Gordon Wilson, attended that day. Yeah, oh, I thought you were attending the day. Sorry.
So you won't even hit the morning, you want to hit the night of the day.
Well, I got the
Fireman's
night, I got the
Day.
night. It was fun, I had a good time. I also attended Board of Trade meeting on July the 17th, and we talked about the Lobster Bash, and we also discussed port days, and that's where I got the real detailed report. I then attended the opening of the trail for the Altos Lookoff Trail opening in the island, and then we went to George Street, St. George Street in Annapolis, where we attended the reception. On the 20th, I attended the concert for Brian Henshaw, and the Altos people, because it was their reunion, were very pleased that Councilor Tudor and myself attended.
They appreciated them.
Way too much food.
Yeah.
But it was lovely. I then attended on July 21st, the Bayview United Church dedication for their plaque, and I thought that was very well done. You know, music was great, but what a highlight.
I was amazed.
So, that was my month. Yes?
Did you not attend Weymouth Days?
Oh, yes, July 1st, I did the opening for Weymouth Day, July 1st. I knew that. Well, Councilor Manzer was very busy
Tied up.
in that rain.
Oh, he's sausage making, aren't you?
But it was nice.
He was
It
tied
was
up.
nice.
We
Yes,
all attended the announcement.
yes, and all council.
Yeah, every one of us made it, didn't we?
The ferry announcement. So I would like to also make a comment that I'm sort of proud to hear comments that people are commenting that we are attending functions, that we are going forward, that our council seems to be proactive, not reactive, and it's nice to hear. Maybe it sounds like I'm bragging, but it's all of us. It's not just one. You're hearing good things about staff, you're hearing good things about the municipality, and that makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
Without good counselors, you know, where would we be? Councilor Adams?
One other question, Lobster Bash, was that a success? Have you heard?
Yes,
Okay.
I have heard, but I'm waiting for the official from them.
Yeah.
But at the meeting, it was said it was a success.
My brother broke his hand throwing the lobster traps.
Oh, we didn't hear that.
Well, he did. He was quite disappointed at how he did. He broke his hand on like the first trap he grabbed and then did the other 9 with a broken hand.
So he didn't win, did he?
No, he had plans on winning. I'll put it that way, but it did not work out. We have a tradition, me and my brother, with entering these prizes. The Bear River used to be a big one. We've been past winners, me and my brother, on the river, so we didn't make it this year because Jess's hand was broken. We can't have one brother go, not two. So both of us were a no-show as a result of Jess's broken hand.
Oh, and I did want to make a comment on the council reports. I had supplied the Digby Area Affordable and Sustainable Housing Group all the comments, and I was going to speak, but Councilor Tudor spoke, so didn't need to hear me twice. So at this time, I would like us to ask, is there any questions from the gallery? Hearing none, I would ask us to take a 5-minute recess, and then we will go in camera.